If you get a free Bet Treble from a bookie or a betting exchange, this is an example of how we may be able to lay each individual runner just as a normal free bet using our normal free bet staking for each individual lay. Now if we hit a winner with the lay on the first runner, for instance, we'll have lay liabilities that we need to recover later on. So if we hit a loser on the first one, we have profit, but if we hit a loser with one later on, say the second or third runner, we hope to have profit that is big enough to recover the previous liabilities from hitting winners in the first race or the second race and show profit on top. Now just to show how the staking goes in a treble, I'll just give an example. If we bet a treble odds of evens for each of our runners with a free bet stake for our free treble of £10, if we're to win with the first one at evens, that will win another £10 plus our £10 stake, so we'll have £20 going on to the next runner. If that wins at evens with £20 on, we get £40 going on to the next runner, and if that wins at evens, we have £40 multiplied by 2, of course, gives us £80, and the total return is that £80 less our original bet stake, so we would pick up a profit of £70. So the important bit is how the stake increases and carries on to the next runner each time. Okay, we'll see how this could work now then. Now here we are in my free bet sheet. Now those were the odds that I actually took in practice on Saturday for my first runner. So if we alter those to 2, if I was able to lay at 2, bet at 2 and lay at 2, that's my bet odds, that's my bet stake, that's my commission. This is a stake not to return with winnings free bet, so I've set that to 0. So if I was, first part of my treble was a bet at 2 and a lay at 2 on my first runner, I could come out with a profit of 488 or thereabouts if it lost. Now if it wins, I would have liabilities of 513 that I need to win back on my next runner. So if the next runner was also at 2 and 2, but the stake now has gone up to 20 because the previous one won at even money, so that 20 is what's carried on to the second runner in the Betfair free bet treble. So now if we hit a loser with this one, we would win 974, which is enough to recover our previous liabilities, which were about £5 there. I'll just put that back in there, £5.13. Look, so if we hit a loser with this one, we win 974 back, which is enough to cover the 513 that we lost on the previous race and show a profit on top. Now if this one wins as well, we've got 513 to add to 1025 liability on this race as well, which we need to win back on the next race. Now if this has won as well, that bet stake in the third race then becomes £40, and we win, if win or lose on this last race, we should clear £19.50 or thereabouts, which is enough to cover the previous losses of which were here of £5 and £10 and show a profit on top. So if we get a free bet treble, if we use short odds and we're able to get odds close together, it should be possible to just trade your treble as a free bet on each individual race and eventually come out with a winner, with some winnings rather. That's provided you can get your lay odds close to your bet odds and only use runners at short odds. Okay, so we'll go ahead now and see what happened to my bigger bet odds on Saturday, bet and lay odds on Saturday. Okay. Now you'll see from the next part of the video that I used some bigger odds for my bets and lays, and I started off with odds of 4 and 4-1. So I bet my first runner at 4, laid it at 4-1. If I hit a loser, I come out with £7.04 because I've got a free bet there, so I lose 0 if it loses, but I've got a successful lay, less commission, leaves me £7.04. Now if it wins, I would normally have bet winnings of 30 there, but only lay liabilities of nearly £23, so I come out with about £7 profit. But because this is a treble, the winnings, if I hit a winner, are carried on to the next runner, so I am left with those liabilities to recover. Now you see that with me using bigger odds, those liabilities got quite out of hand, so that is why I've eventually came up with using shorter odds. So if you can get bet somewhere down evens or even odds on and get some close odds, this method could work. But you can see that your profit would be a little bit smaller than that if it was odds of 2 and 2 instead of £7. We come out with somewhere near a 5. So that's the price you pay for using this method, but a profit is a profit. So let's go ahead and see what happened in practice on Saturday, and you can have a bit of fun at my expense at seeing just how huge these liabilities became. But remember, I got out with the first runner with my loser, so everything was okay. Right, here I am in Betfair. There's my multiple. I've chose some reasonably small odds. The 2 o'clock are at ADOC at 4s, the 305 at 6.5, and my last one at 340 at odds of 9, and that's all matched up and ready to go. And here I am in my Betdaq account where I'm doing my laying, and there's my first one at 2 o'clock, and I've got all matched up at 4-1 apart from a penny. It's all matched up there, look. So that's all ready to roll on the first race. And there it is. There's my liabilities of £22.94 and my £7.40, just a penny short against all the other runners. Now I've just come back into Betfair here for a moment. If you look at my total payout down there, if I hit 3 winners, it's £2,330 if I hit all 3 winners. So just remember that when we're looking at the spreadsheet in a moment. Now you can see here now that luckily Universal Soldier lost, so I don't have to lay any of those big lays, thank goodness. Right, we'll carry on and see what would have happened if I'd had to. I've cut back to the original introductory part here, and I've input the odds of my free treble there just to show how the stakes increase with the winnings carried forward. So if the first one wins with my bet stake of 10, I would have £40 carried on to my second runner. If that wins at 6.5, I'd have £260 carried on to my third runner, and if that third runner wins, the total return would be £2,340 less the £10 bet stake, leaves £2,330. So I hope you can see from that how things could get out of hand if you use slightly bigger odds, and you can see where these bet stakes come from that are shown in the sheets in a moment. Right, so my first runner in my treble was at the bet odds 4, and I laid at 4-1. Now unfortunately I got my commission wrong. I should have had 3% in there for Betdaq, but we'll work with this because this is the staking I used. So my first part of my treble was a bet at 4, stake of 10, so I laid at 4-1, stake of 7.41, and it lost, so I came out with £7.04, which was actually, with 3% there, £7.15. So that's the profit I made on the trade. Now if it had won, I would have had liabilities of £22.96 to recover on the next part of the treble. Now the next runner was 6.5 when I put my treble on, and I laid at well, I saw some odds at 7.4 just before the race, and that bet stake would have jumped up to 40. because it was 10 times odds of 4. And now you can see if this wins or loses now, we pick up a profit of £28. Now the liability to recover was only £22.96, so we would have made a profit of about £5 on that if we'd had to do that, because we would have made 28. Now after that things went quite wrong. The last one I bet at 9 and the odds drifted to 10.5. They went up to 11 at one point that I saw, and you can see now that our bet stake went up to 260 or something enormous. And you can see now that the profit, win or lose, would only be 189. Now if we add the previous two, not that one but the previous two liabilities together, they come to more than that. So we'll just backtrack there, see what they were. That one was 191, so that's too big already, and plus 22, 23, so the best part of £200 to recover. And we're only making 189. So if we'd gone ahead with these huge liabilities, don't forget if we laid that at 10.5, we would need to be able to cover that in Betfair or Betdaq in order to get our lay on. So playing about with £2,000 here, which was totally out of the question. So that's why the whole point of this video is to keep your odds very short, and then you can manage. It makes these liabilities manageable, and the profits that we get here hopefully big enough to cover the liabilities of any winning races. So that's the theory behind how we could use our normal free bet staking to lay a free bet treble that we were bet with a bucket or a betting exchange. Okay, thanks for listening and good luck with that if you have a go at it.